Well, hello everyone and welcome back. It's been a while since I worked on this. I needed a break and wanted, you know, do a bunch of other things. Plus, I was going through my treatments. Everything's good so far, but yeah, I wanted to toy around. I did some other projects, the Y wing, the E wing, just things I needed to get off the shelf. They were just sitting in boxes. And then did that quick Hellboy Samaritan gun, and I just needed a break away from this for a while, but I want to at least get this ship mounted on this base, and we'll continue with the space dock build series on moving on with that. There's a lot of work to do on that, and but where we're at is I got this 1/8 inch jack put in. This is going to supply the power to the dry dock, which somehow is going to sit probably a bar here, a bar here, a bar here, a bar here, coming off those legs that curl under. And this side here, I'll have the main wires going down, and we'll have two circuits going up. As soon as we turn the main power on, it'll turn on my marker lights that are on top, the yellow ones, and or amberish, whatever. And then the switch back here, I'll show you. Probably have in the past, but this switch here, or this one, the one that closest to it, will turn on the big lights that go all the way, around the ship. But there's going to be times where you might want that off because otherwise it's going to be probably pretty bright, but all the lights are going to be on those arms. So, but in order to get this ship on here, I need to clean this. In order to get the ship mounted, I needed to get some of these switches done. That way I don't have to keep flipping this, once I'm ready to install the space dock. So what we got here, here's the jack, and then I got this blue wire for the switch that'll control the big lights, which I put that on one side of the. Being that this is a stereo 8th, it gives you a tip, ring, and a sleeve. Your sleeve is always your common ground, even if it's being used for headphones. And then the tip can be either your left and the ring could be your right. So those are your two circuits I can use that give power. So I put this one on the sleeve, and then I connected a red wire to the tip that's going to get the constant power. Because this is going to be our main power, and then this switch here is going to be for the torpedoes on the Galaxy class Starship. And this, once you turn this on, it'll turn the whole ship on. Plus, come over here and send power up to the space dock's upper lights. And then once you hit that light switch, it'll turn on the main lights on the big work lights, I guess you could call them. And so we got all that ready for the ship to be mounted. This will go to the white wire coming out of the ship. This will go to the red wire, and then we'll tie all the negatives together, which I tied the negative from here to here, which goes to the jack. And we'll tie the other negative here from the ship, the red to here, and of course the white to here. But yeah, I needed to finalize all this so we don't have to flip this upside down once the ship's on. It's already going to be fun enough doing it once, let alone twice. Probably what I'll try to do is, once I get the ship on, we'll try to just do a lightly tip. But so all that is ready, except for waiting for the ship to be mounted. Now I had to I mounted this route on once before, and it was leaning way too much this way. I think it got warm in the house and it was just sitting, and actually I think I even had it mounted on here, and the weight of it just made it tip, or for whatever reason it was just too much that way. I guess mainly because it's hard to really level this with this ship the way it is when you're just sitting it like this, trying to do it. And it's hard to get a square here because the ship's kind of bellies up and there's no real flat. But I think I got it. I had to remove it. I also had to fix this decal because I put tape here the first time when I was using the steel stick, which is the black epoxy, but it really didn't even hold it. I think it was test. I did this way earlier today. It's working. So I had to come in with a blade. I took this blade here and came in and got rid of the stuff that I oozed around the outside. And then I took my hair dryer and heated this rod up. And that softened up the epoxy enough that I could get it out of there. And, retouched up anything I boogered up. But yeah, I had a piece of tape over here to protect any of that black steel stick that I was using the first time from getting on here, and it actually pulled that decal up. But thankfully, he gave me other ones that went for different ships, I guess, if you were going to make it that ship. And they were kind of these up here, but shorter. But the other problem is it's not as wide as like the Delta Shield there. It's really wide compared to the ones up on the nacelles. So I had to actually cut and piece where it tore off in this corner and it tore that point down there. I had to cut and piece so I could just take that corner and rebuild this edge. And I think I had to rebuild a little bit here, and then I had to rebuild a little bit in the red. So I actually just cut a little piece in that red because the red on here is wider, if he's trying to flip this with a rod, than this red. So I just cut that corner off and patched it in there and sealed it up, and it looked good. But I still had some little gold, like little, where that yellow wasn't as big. And believe it or not, this yellow from Rhino Wisdom matched. So I went and did that. And it's very thin, so it left it translucent just like the decals are. So you can't even really tell. That looks like that's never had an issue. So that made me happy because I was kind of a little upset about that. All right, there she is. She is mounted. It's sitting a little more level. She still kind of has a dip and a kind of a tilt this way. But that's okay. And then I had a bigger piece of rod that I actually slid over the smaller rod just to kind of clean that up. So now what we got to do is get the plaques for here and here. But first, let's actually wire her. And then we're already set up for when the space dock goes over top, the dry dock. I already have that wire, but we got to get the wires from the ship connected to the switches. All right, what we're going to do is I'm going to try to hopefully balance this over the counter. This is going to be very interesting. Now I like to tape those wires to the bottom there. I made a groove. I'm probably going to have to do most of this all from the floor. There we go. All right. My big head's in the way, I'm sorry. Well, make a spaghetti. go in between wires here. We need that shrink tube. Slide the shrink tube up one wire. These two. See if we can solder that. Probably should get on the ground. Go. They're negative. I hope I pinned this right. Most of my adapters, the pin and the female jack is hot. I think that's how I wired it. Usually what I do. I try to order all the same, that way I don't have to remember, but then I always worry. We got 3 of them, it's easier just to do it this way. Like 1 heavy wire and 2 real skinny ones. And the heavy wires come from the ship. Alright, here she's working. We got her plugged in, ready to go. Here we go. Power on. Yay! Let me dim the lights. Let's turn them off. There we go. I'm sure it wasn't too bad with that on. You kind of see some of the ship. Strobes are going. Let me take you off this pod too. There we go. Yeah, but we got it plugged in. And like I said, this switch is our main power. And this will turn on the torpedo launchers. I'll turn them off a sec. Looks like we're not getting much of the red in the back here. It's very faint. Oh, it's there. You just... There it is. And those little marker lights back there. And there's our torpedoes. Our impulse engines are fluttering away. Same with the ones on the saucer. Those even came out nice with a little blue haze. Sorry about the light adjusting back and forth. Kind of see, it's probably going to be so overly bright. Yeah, just can't get it to focus in there. I don't know if it's better with the... There we go. Now you can kind of see in there. The other shuttles. But I'm happy with it. What a fighter. And like I said, we still have the space dock that's going to go over top. But it'll be able to be removed if we just want to show the ship. See if we can get it underneath. Look. I think the deflector dish came out really well. Yeah, this camera here wants to keep light balancing. Even with that, you can still see a good glow. Let's turn those torpedoes off. You can see a pretty good glow from that deflector dish. But we just got to put the plaques on. Oh, and how's that window that we added in down here? Might be too bright with this. There we go. Strobes are going down here. Like I said, I was able to get those the light to bounce down from the bulb pointing upwards, which was good. The strobe under here working. Yep. For those. So yeah, I'm happy. This will be a nice, memorable tribute for Boyd every time I look at it. But yeah, naming her the USS Crompton. Like I said, the registry goes for July 4th, 2024. So the 70424 worked great. And that gives you the 5 numbers that a lot of the other Galaxy class are. And a lot of them do start with a 7 as well. So that worked out nice. But definitely a nice ship. And the plaques, they're just going to go there. I can bring this one out. So there, it's simulate what they have like in all the bridges. Yes, that's Crompton. And the other one's more of a just a generic that's still going off that vibe with the Starfleet thing that I found. And that one we'll put back there. But I'll show you all that, but we can at least end this build series on her being built. Get her in the dark again. Came out really nice. The solar res worked great for the windows. Like I said, I do flashing on mine. I'm trying to keep my Starfleet ships in some type of consistency, where you have ones that don't flash and some that do, and it just doesn't make sense why it would be that way. So I'm kind of following the constitutional refit, where they even had the white one flash with the navs in the front. So I know these are supposed to be steady on, but like I said, I'm trying to keep a consistency in all these ships with ones that do and ones that don't. And a lot of it's just because it's a new series or a new movie, and when they were building models, they just didn't do that for some reason. Not really going back and looking to see what they did in the movie before. Yeah, so I'm really glad I got a lot of these windows down here to come and actually light up, since that was a hard area, and especially those. Like I said, that red's a little dim until you get about eye level. Then it comes in. As you move up, I might have to scrape something. Something might be just blocking. That's all. Decals are tough, especially over this highly textured um, model. But it does look good when it does set in, because it gives it some type of dimension. So it does make it look good. You just got to take your time and use some type of setting solution for sure. And I like that bridge. I'm sorry, I keep calling it a bridge. The shuttle bay. And even the little windows in the back of the bridge are light, and I thought that would be a little tight ski. You get a little bit of flash from the flasher, but not too bad. But getting in that shuttle bay, like I said, it's going to be so bright unless we, again, try to dim it with the outside light. And I do have the shuttle door somewhere, so we will get all that out. Sorry about my finger sneaking around all the time. But there she is, the Galaxy class USS Crompton. Well, there she is. I got the plaques on, and she's mounted, and that's it for this part. Looking good. She was a challenging ship for the first one I built. I got two more to build, but hopefully from what I learned on this, they'll go a little more smooth. And the other one is the opaque one, so we don't have to do any window drilling. I think on the other one, all I have to do is the saucer as far as window holes. I think all the rest is done. But we'll continue on those in later times. I need a break from this, and then we need to finish this off with the space dock, which will be, I think, really cool to have a space dock wrapping around it. And then to have the ability to take it off so we can just display this just as she is. But I'm proud of it. It's nice. I haven't done a Galaxy class, so it's good to finally have a Galaxy class in the fleet. But we'll do one more quick little flyby of it, and now that it's actually going on a year now that we lost Boyd, and it's definitely been he's definitely been missed. I miss seeing his videos and learning from him. So, but this we'll revisit when we get the space dock put on. So, and I think then we'll do a real good once around, but I'll do another little quick one here. There's our one plaque that's on the front. Get a dip underneath here. And like I said, I'm really happy with that deflector dish. And doing that other window down there with the photo etch. Come over top. I think, again, seeing the shuttle bay, it's going to be better. We actually dim the lights down. Or no, it was better with it on, that's right. And then in the back, so we can turn the torpedoes on. And there's the other plaque. A very fun ship. And those custom decals that I got are great. Well, I'm glad you watched this series, and I hope you enjoyed it. But until next time, thanks for watching.